In this video, we're going to cover how to use the heavy straight stitch machine. We're here in front of our heavy straight stitch machine. Let's take a look at a few of the functions. First, on and off switch at the top. Following down to the hand wheel on the right that moves the needle manually. We have our reverse lever right here under the stitch length knob. Typically, we leave the stitch length a little bit longer when we're using the heavier straight stitch with the heavier thread, and we'll talk about that more later. Down here, beneath the table, we have our knee press that lifts the presser foot. Behind the machine, we have a manual presser foot lift, in addition to the knee press. And then we've just got our regular needle plate, presser foot, and needle setup. Next, let's take a look at how to thread the machine. First, we're going to turn the machine off. We don't want to risk turning the machine on or the pedal moving while we're threading. Next, we're going to take the thread out of the eye of the needle. That way, we'll be able to pull the new thread through easily. Next, let's come up here and snip the thread right above the cone and put our new cone on. Knot off the new thread to the old thread with a simple knot and pull it tight. Now we're going to release the pressure of the presser foot by pushing on our knee bar. Grab the end of the tail of the old thread and gently pull the new thread through, watching as the new thread goes through each step of the threading process. If it gets caught, just help it along the way. There we go. As I'm pulling, I'm using the hand wheel to move this lever up so that we make sure that the thread goes all the way through and doesn't get slipped back into the machine. Perfect. And we'll give ourselves a little bit of room and then snip the old thread off. Now, for the final step, we're ready to just thread the new thread through the eye of the needle. And there we go. Let's take a look at how to wind a bobbin. The bobbin winder is located on the top of the machine. To wind the bobbin, we'd like to keep the machine threaded, but we need this thread to wind it. So we're going to snip just before our first tension dial and leave the thread in. We're also going to take the thread out of the needle and just leave it set. Finally, we'll reach down under and pull out the bobbin case and the bobbin so that nothing is interfering with the needle when it runs down into the machine. Now we've got our new empty bobbin that we're going to place up on top of the machine, and we've got the end of our thread coming off of our cone. Now, we're going to thread through the bobbin tension dial. There's a hole on the back. We'll come through the tension discs and thread through the hole in the front. Perfect. Then we'll take that end of the thread and push it up through any one of the holes on the bobbin. Great. Snap that in and push the arm in. Now we're going to hold on to this tail as we start to wind the bobbin. It's very important to understand that the needle will be moving all during this time. The entire machine is attached so that when it's running, everything is running. So your hands can be nowhere near the running needle, and there should be no thread in the needle, no bobbin underneath, and nothing that can interfere with the running needle as we thread this bobbin. Now we are ready to press the pedal and slowly start winding. It's okay if this thread just pulls right out of your hand. Once it gets going, we can even snip that off. There we go. Now, we can hold the end of this thread. This is the thread that's keeping the machine threaded for later, way off to the side. But again, make sure that your hands are nowhere near the moving needle as we gently press the pedal and start winding the bobbin. Now, as the bobbin is winding, we want to watch and make sure that it's winding evenly, meaning that the thread is moving up and down the width of the bobbin, threading it in an even, equal manner. Beautiful. All right, once the bobbin looks like it's quite full, we're going to snip, pop that arm out, and take a look. Everything looks smooth, the winding looks good and tight, and now we are ready to use this bobbin. Now let's take a look at how to replace the needle. Needles can break for all kinds of reasons, so we want to be very careful. Again, in this procedure, we want to turn off the machine and make sure that our foot is never on the pedal. We don't want to risk the machine running at all while we're touching this very critical part of the machine. Now, we're going to take our screwdriver here and loosen this little screw on the right side of the machine, just enough to slide our needle out. Anytime we're replacing a needle, that needle becomes garbage, so we want to dispose of that immediately. Now, we're going to take our new needle. This is a 135 by 5 needle system, and typically the size is going to be 110 or higher. These are heavy, large needles. Industrial straight stitch machine needles are different from domestic machine needles because there is no flat edge. They are round the entire way around, so we need a different indicator for how to insert the needle properly. On one side of the needle, there is a very long trench or indent that you can feel with your finger. On the other side, there is a short indent. We want to put the short indent facing the rest of the machine or to the right. When we insert the needle, the eye of the needle will not be facing us because we thread left to right. We're carefully feeling where we're going to insert. Good. And now bring that nail down again to feel around for that short indent. Good. We can feel it there facing the right side. I'm putting pressure on the needle with my finger while I tighten up the screw up above. There we go. And finally, snip a clean edge on our thread and thread that through. There we are. Now let's insert our bobbin and bobbin case into the machine. We're going to insert the bobbin into the bobbin case so that the thread is moving counterclockwise. Then we're going to slide the thread into this little gap in the case and under that little arm. Once the thread is inside of this arm, we're going to give the thread a little tug and make sure that it moves smoothly, and it does. Now we are ready to insert the whole bobbin and bobbin case into the machine. We're going to access the bobbin case under this door underneath the machine. But first, we need to make sure that the machine is off. It will error out if you lift the head while it is on. So turn the machine off and let's push and let the machine rest on its side. Here is where the bobbin case is going to be held. To insert the bobbin case, we're going to lift this lever on the front of the case and hold it up with our thumb. This keeps the bobbin in place as we're shifting to move it in. We'll slide it a little bit until we hear that click. Then we're all set. Now we can lower the head and get sewing.